The Fall of Baghdad and the Christian Reconquest of Al-Andalus. Welcome back to History Uncovered. In this chapter, we witness the twilight of two of the Islamic world's most radiant civilizations. The Abbasid Caliphate in the east, once the epicenter of learning and power, would face the wrath of an unstoppable force from the steppes of Asia. Meanwhile, in the west, the jewel of Muslim Spain, Al-Andalus, would begin a slow but relentless decline as Christian kingdoms advanced from the north. Together, these two collapses marked a turning point in global history. The Fall of Baghdad, 1258. In the early 13th century, the Abbasid Caliphate had become a shadow of its former self. While the caliphs remained revered as religious leaders, real power had shifted to local dynasties and military rulers. The Mongol Empire, under Genghis Khan and his successors, had already swept through Central Asia and Persia, devastating cities and empires in its path. By 1258, Baghdad was a pale reflection of its golden age. That year, the Mongol general Hulagu Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, led an army of over 100,000 warriors to the gates of Baghdad. Despite warnings, Caliph al-Mustasim refused to surrender or prepare for siege. The Mongols surrounded the city and, after brief resistance, breached its defenses. What followed was one of the darkest episodes in Islamic history. For 7 days, Baghdad was pillaged. Palaces, mosques, libraries, including the fabled House of Wisdom, were burned or thrown into the Tigris River. Tens of thousands were killed. The caliph himself was executed, and the spiritual heart of the Islamic world was shattered. Though Islam would survive and thrive elsewhere, the fall of Baghdad marked the end of the Abbasids as a dominant political force. The Mongol invasion created a power vacuum that would eventually be filled by new Muslim powers, such as the Mamluks in Egypt, and later, the Ottomans. The Christian reconquest of Al-Andalus. While the East was reeling from Mongol devastation, the Islamic West faced its own long battle for survival. Since the early 8th century, Muslim rule in Spain had established a vibrant and powerful society. But as early as the 11th century, internal divisions weakened Al-Andalus. The Caliphate of Córdoba fractured into smaller kingdoms called taifas, which often fought one another and sometimes allied with Christian kings to gain advantage. By the 11th and 12th centuries, Christian kingdoms in the north, Castile, Aragon, Leon, and Navarre, launched increasingly coordinated efforts to retake the Iberian Peninsula. This centuries-long campaign became known as the Reconquista. Notable turning points included the Battle of Las Navas de Tolosa in 1212, where Christian forces decisively defeated the Almohad Caliphate, breaking the back of Muslim military resistance. The steady Christian advance southward throughout the 13th century, taking key cities like Córdoba in 1236 and Seville in 1248. By the late 13th century, Muslim rule in Spain was reduced to a single kingdom, the Emirate of Granada. While Granada flourished culturally and economically, it was a vassal of Castile and increasingly isolated. The final fall of 1492, Granada held out for over 2 centuries. But by the late 15th century, the Catholic monarchs, Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile, were determined to unify Spain under Christian rule. In 1492, after a lengthy siege, the last Muslim ruler of Granada, Muhammad X Boabdil, surrendered the city. The fall of Granada marked the end of nearly 800 years of Muslim presence in Spain. 1492 was also the year Columbus set sail for the New World, ushering in a new age of European exploration and domination. For the Islamic world, it symbolized a moment of profound transformation and loss. Conclusion: endings and new beginnings. The fall of Baghdad and the Reconquista of Al-Andalus marked the closing chapters of Islam's classical age. Yet from these endings would emerge new empires, new cultural exchanges, and new power centers, from the Ottoman Empire in the east to the Safavids in Persia and the Mughals in India. In our next episode of History Uncovered, we will explore the rise of the Ottomans and how they would restore Islamic power in the post-Mongol world, culminating in the conquest of Constantinople and the rise of a new world order.